We had some crazy vlogs come out talking about my life, how I built my company and stuff. There's so many questions. So, after I get done with the gym, I'm gonna jump over to that shop. How about I answer some of those questions, all right? Oh, it's still dark out. Check it out. My boy Dave's car right there. They're probably already working on it. I'm late, but it's all good, all right? So first thing I wanna say is, happy Veterans Day. It's because of you, right? Those that have fought and died and served our great country. It's because of you that I get to enjoy the things that I enjoy the freedoms, enjoy, my house and my company and do what we do. We're able to come from nothing, no money, going through adversity and just making it happen, right? Because we live in this country, we can make that happen. So I just want to thank you for everything, all right? This day is dedicated to you guys, all right? So let's get after it. All right, so now I'm in my office. My team has actually gone through my last 4 vlogs and grabbed questions about manufacturing, about CNC machining, about making it happen on a daily basis. So we're gonna actually answer those questions that you put in the comments below the vlog. And I just want to say a couple things first. One is, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, all right? 2, make sure you like it and put comments down below. What do you want to learn about this trait? What should we have a conversation about? Because when you put it down below, I will speak about it. And if I don't know the answer, I'll go get the answer from somebody else. All right. I'll bring in the top engineers, top CEOs, and we're just going to give you all that wisdom and all that knowledge. All right. So I got a list of some of the questions right here. And before I start, I just want to say one thing. Facebook, you might have like a bad, thing about Facebook and stuff, but you know what? There's a ton of machinists on Facebook. It is crazy. Like, we have over 100,000 people that follow us on Facebook. I was working so much with different teachers and different programs and different things, and it was behind the scenes, and I kept having to answer the same question and the same question. So I really looked at all the different platforms, right? Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and everything, Twitter, and I thought, what is our biggest one where you just seem to have the most machinists? And for us, it was Facebook, and they had a really cool way of actually creating a group. And there's a lot of groups out there that have a bad reputation, so we need to answer questions in front of everyone and make a Facebook group. And that's what this is. It is Titans of CNC Academy. It's a Facebook group. We regulate it and we police it. There's no profanity. There's kids, women, CEOs from the biggest companies. There are machinists from Lockheed and Northrop, and there's teachers from all over the world, students and hobbyists and machinists, and everyone, they just talk to each other. You can be like, how do you thread mill 316 stainless? Or how do you drill Inconel? Or how do you fixture this? It's just question after question after question. So it's just all positive. You see shops that were struggling and they learn from other people all over the world, right? You put one question down and 50 people from around the world answers the question. Nobody's putting you down. Nobody's degrading you. They're answering and they're just lifting you up. And our motto on the Academy Facebook group, it's a private group, is rising to greatness together, like in community, right? So we're helping each other. Teachers who are stepping into the Academy, they actually can go and talk to other teachers and see how other people are actually doing things, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. They can jump up on level and just go for it. All right. And I spend a lot of my time here. Like, there's no question that gets asked that does not get answered. All right. Enough talk. Titans, shut up. Let's get to the questions. So here we go. All right. So the first question is from Cody. Can you talk about Mighty Bites? I'm having troubles with the fixturing and putting them in correctly. All right. So this is actually pretty easy. And I don't want to mean easy, but I want to explain a couple things. So before I answer the question, I actually went in and actually grabbed one of the Mighty Bites. All right, so this is Mighty Bite, some little pit bull clamps right here. And the cool thing about Mighty Bite and their little clamps is that all the different clamps, they basically come in a box or in a package. They actually have a diagram on the other side. So basically, you know, you actually see where your part is, right? Where your stop is, where your part is. And then it gives you full dimensions, right? So A dimension would be from the part over to where the screw actually gets put into the fixture. So then when you figure out how big a clamp you need, then you just simply go over to A and you drop down. And if you're using the 26020, it'd be 200 thousandths away from the stock, right? And then it shows you the backstop that holds the clamp in place so that it can like lock against something and just go like this, right? Like just can't go anywhere. And then it'll give you those dimensions and basically gives you everything you need. Okay. The cool thing about Mighty Bite too is that, you know, 6-inch vices, 4-inch, 6-inch, you know, 8-inch, they're all like, those are standards, right? But when you put 2 vices on a table, you can't actually like run that many parts, right? You can put soft jaws, you can put double vices and stuff. You can figure out, you know, one part on the left, one part on the right, you know, if they're small parts and stuff. But when you have a lot of quantity, it's great going to fixture plates, like sub plates and fixture plates, where you can actually use Mighty Bites and different clamps to actually hold 30 parts at a time, 100 parts at a time. So you can actually walk away and actually like leave it alone so it has a long runtime. All right, so if you have a part that has a 3-minute runtime, you can put one part in and every 3 minutes you're opening the door. But if you actually like put a fixture plate in and actually run a whole bunch of them, say 30, then you have a 90-minute runtime, and then you can actually walk away from your machine and actually run multiple machines at the same time, doing inspection at the same time, and that creates efficiency and helps you make money. All right, so the cool thing about the Academy is I believe that fixturing is important, so we created a teaching series, The Art of Fixturing. It's on the Academy, and basically people and kids are making the base plate and the different sub plates, and then they're actually making parts and putting in all the fixturing to hold the parts on the first op and the second op, right? I always say, like, you can have a piece of paper that you went to college about machining, but that doesn't have a lot of weight. When you bring in a sub plate with all of these fixtures and all these different styles, and you talk about how you actually machined it and the surface finishes and how you save time and how you solve problems, that is what actually makes it happen. Somebody comes in, a kid comes in, 18 years old, and shows me that, boom, he's got a job immediately, right? Especially if he designed it, programmed it, and actually machined, set up the machine, made it all happen. Instantly, I know that he can actually make parts. Boom, all right? So let's go to the next question. So the next one is about routers, okay? Can you go through your routers, particularly on jobs that are more complex and require instructions on how to load, unload, deeper, handle parts, all of that. All right, so routers. I went and actually grabbed I got it somewhere over here. All right, so we have a router right here, right? This is one of our shop routers. It's Job Boss. That's the actual router, the company that we use for our shop management, and it's awesome. I do all my quotes through it. I do basically everything through it, and we even ship through it, and it connects with our QuickBooks and stuff so we can invoice, right? But this is the router, okay? And as you go through the router, you got barcodes, so we just scan in, boom, boom, boom. It's in relationship with our setup sheet that gives us, like, you know, do we have a toolbox? Do we have this? Do we have different things that are actually attached to the router and to the job, specialty tools and all that? So that's on a different document, and that's our setup sheet, okay? But the router basically explains exactly what we do. All right, so here's my philosophy, right? There's different stages and even important things like the material, the cut size. We actually we highlight it, and then we actually, when material actually comes in, we actually put our own code on it so that we can keep track of the documentation, right? The certs, right? The AMS and all that stuff. And we basically make sure that everybody gets it, that nobody can make a mistake, right? We actually sign off on different things. When a job is done, we sign off on it, put signatures on it besides just scanning it. So we just have a visual aid that this has been done, this has been checked, that's the date, 11/5/18, which is just recent, right? And that's what we do. So let's talk, why is a shop router important? A shop router is actually important. When it comes to the print is law. The specifications marked out, the dimensions on the print have to be perfect, right? To the tolerances called out, to the notes called out, everything has to be perfect, okay? And then when you actually like go with the print, we got to make sure that we actually run it in a precise manner through the process, and then we document the process continuously, right? So in our router, on our router, we need to make sure that from the time the material, it basically comes into the floor and gets inspected, right? If it's out of square, if it's out of parallel, we want to know right then, and it gets signed off, right? And then how many pieces recount, right? We get 105 pieces. Was there 104? Was there 106? Let's document it. Make sure that we have the exact amount of pieces, not wait till it's about to go on the machine, then all of a sudden, hey man, we don't have like enough material, right? So we document the process. If we're cutting our own material, we actually cut it, and then we inspect the pieces, and then we shelf them, right? Get them ready to go on the machine, but it's all documented, okay? And the part size, the tolerance on the part size, everything is documented. So when it comes to the complexity of how your router should be, it depends on the part, it depends on what you put on the setup sheet also, right? But every step through the process, operation 1, we do this, 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 and this per this document, setup sheet, per these specifications, whatever it is, right? And then the next thing we do, inspection, all right? So then the inspector signs in, boom, 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 I checked it, I signed off on it, all right? And that's just first article. Now we're ready to run operation 1, okay? Then you got in-process inspection. Then you got the whole deal, right? Then you go back to inspection, and then you go back to operation 2, right? You're setting up the job, boom, boom, boom. Basically, you have to spell out every single second of manufacturing. You got to make sure that it is completely like easy to understand and like bulletproof, right? Because if it is not all documented, then somebody can say, I didn't know, right? So as a shop owner, you have to make sure that you actually document and put all the instructions, and that you show people like, dude, you did know, this is law, this is what has to happen, okay? All right, so that shop router is very important. Put down as much information as possible and make it law that whoever runs the machines actually reads everything, double checks it, and if you have a problem or an update to the job during the process, you gotta make sure that you redline and go back and change the router so it doesn't happen the next time. All right, so now we're going to, hey Titan, it's clear that you're very passionate and you care about quality parts. How do you communicate that to the team environment without becoming nitpicky, micromanaging, blah, 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 blah? Brother, I feel your pain, right? I feel your pain. Man, I've managed hundreds and hundreds of employees. I've ran different companies. I've done a lot of different things, and this is what I say. Start off fresh. As a parent, if you're strict with your kids, if you set rules in place and you don't bend, they will follow those rules. But once you bend and you give them ice cream when you're not supposed to give them ice cream, and you let them have candy when they're not supposed to have candy, and they're doing this, they're always going to be asking for that. They're always going to be pushing that barrier, right? As a shop owner, you got to do the same thing. You got to start off and say, we have a shop. And this shop is going to be based on a foundation of quality. Quality, number one. You can run fast, you can be the most brilliant machinist ever. You can have the greatest products, you can have everything, but if you don't have quality, you lose. You don't have anything. It's not sustainable, right? So this is what we're gonna do, all right? And we're gonna put the things in place to be successful. And if it is a 10th out, my guys, you guys have already seen vlogs, like if it's 1/10 out, it's scrapped. And there's been tough decisions, $15,000 worth of parts, and like it's 1/10 out. And just to make a point, like just there's no way, like I might be able to call the customer, but I don't want to and I shouldn't have to, right? They could have made it right. So I scrapped the job and I don't compromise, and they end up actually making it good the next time, right? Because they know that I'm not playing with my quality. They're on the shop out there. I'm the one talking to the customer. It's on my shoulders, and my company has to be known. Our company needs to be known for quality, right? So it's from the top person, the CEO, the managers, everybody on the team, on the top level, they have to put it out and say, this is not up for discussion. This is about quality, right? You have to have your routers in place, right? You have to have your quality manual in place. You have to have all the different things in place to bring forth that perfection and give the employees, the team, what they need to succeed. And then when somebody like says you're nitpicking and somebody says you're this and you're that, then you like quickly, you handle it, you deal with it. And guess what? You're not gonna do it that much longer, right? People aren't just gonna keep pressing if they know that you're serious about it. And then once everybody knows that it's all about quality, then they all are gonna fall in line. And those that don't, you gotta move on, and they just can't be there. You gotta write them up, you gotta do whatever happens, you gotta document the process and eventually let them go, because machining has to be about quality. It has to be about precision. It has to be about greatness and solving your customers' problems. And if you're not solving your customers' problems, then what are we doing, right? Hopefully I answered that question. I can keep going on and on with that one, but you just, culture is important. You got to give them a vision. You got to let them know that you stand on quality. You got to let them know where you're going, and you got to take them there, and you got to expect excellence. All right. So somebody was saying, like, how did you get your AS9100, blah, blah, blah. That is from Ernest, okay? So let me talk to you about something that I did. When we started off with our first 2 bays, right? So we just had the vlog, number 19, where I talked about building my shop. When I actually created, I only had 4 machines, but I created an inspection room, right? And when I was spending money, I actually put money into the inspection tools. I created way back then, and within my first couple months, I actually created a quality manual, right? I looked at ISO and AS9100, and I had experience from other companies. I didn't have the money to actually go for it, and I only had it was just me and another person, 2 other people, right? But I made myself compliant, all right? So basically, every process we documented, how material came into the shop, how it went through, how every job went through the shop, how it shipped, how it got inspected. Our inspection tools, we had a third party actually calibrate our tools to put that little sticker and say that everything is perfect, right? And we did everything right, and basically just went after it, okay? And I sold them on it, right? We were compliant, like we were like in line, but we weren't certified. And when I actually first jumped up to Elon's company, literally 6 months, they got tired of me like emailing them and calling them and doing everything. And finally, they just gave me a bunch of prints and stuff. And during that first move, they didn't even ask me, luckily, if I was actually certified, right? If I was AS9100, which is ISO with a bunch of other additions for aerospace. They didn't even ask me, right? And then I started developing parts and doing things and performing well. And then they came to audit my facility. Then they realized, but by the time they realized, they already had a good vendor. I'm not telling you guys to do it. I'm just saying that was the luck that happened with me. So then they already had a vendor. So they helped me through the process, and they were lenient with me to get me on that level. But, if you're starting a business and you're actually going after AS9100 or ISO, and your customers, like, they need that certification, right? Because they don't actually want to come to your shop, right? We're in a age of like the internet and social and multitasking, right? So the old days, people used to come and they come look at your shop and they do this and that. Today, they don't want to, right? And that's why a lot of people lose opportunities, because they're like, oh, my shop is so good, I deserve to get the work. But these guys, they don't care. Right? If you're at these big aerospace companies, they don't care. They're like, fill out this list. Are you certified? Are you this and this? They'll double check all that. And if you are, then that automatically gives them confidence, because it shows that you actually had a third party come in and inspect your shop and that everything is dialed. Right? And I'll say something, the bigger you get, the harder it is, right? AS9100 it's not a hard thing. But the more processes you have, the more you have to document them, right? What is AS9100, right? It just shows people that you're kind of foolproof, right? That every process, from the way you deal with orders, the way that you deal with material coming in and processing jobs, and you just got to document how it goes through the shop, how it exits the shop, right? Your quality, right? Every single thing that you do in your shop, you just have to document it, and you need to be precise. You need to look at your leadership, and do like your tree graph, and you got to make sure that at no times is there somebody in your shop that won't know what to do, because you've actually documented it. You have the right meetings, you do the right things to make sure that everybody is in line with the vision, right? It makes sense, right? If you want to have a good company, you got to do that anyway, right? So I'm all about the documentation. I'm all about, all of it, right? Because you want to be successful, all right? So, when people do end up coming and they do end up doing these checks at your facility and making sure that everything's good and stuff, it's important to be able to show them that documentation, the certification, show them your routers, show them how you actually go through the routers and you barcode, boom, 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 hit it, and that you can be anywhere and you can actually track any job from anywhere in the world, because your entire shop is dialed. All right, I'm talking a lot, right? I'm going on and on and on, but again, I'm passionate about that also. Okay, so William actually asks, hey, can you talk about acquiring stock, like material, and basically what's your process? How do you actually talk to, the people, right? The different vendors and stuff. So material is, I've always been like pretty good, right? So I'm a talker, I'm a storyteller, right? So the one thing I do is I actually look for, like, where's the material coming from, right? So I contact the biggest companies that are closest to me, and so we don't have shipping costs, right? Companies that actually deliver material by truck to my facility at no cost. Like, that's very important for me, right? And when I determine these different companies, then I actually go in and actually make sure that I talk and communicate with the management there, okay? And I let them know my vision. I let them know my story. I let them know what's going on, right? And basically let them know that, hey, I'm gonna do an account, and basically I need you to give me a great rate below everybody. You gotta work it, man. You gotta work it. I'm below everyone, and then I will order all my material from you. So don't make a killing, on the profit on every single job. Lower your profit, and I'm gonna order this, thousands of pounds of material from you, and I'm gonna be a great customer, right? And then you're helping me to compete, and you create those relationships with these. We're doing roof work right now, and boom, 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 kind of irritating, but they're up there. All right, so, but you create these relationships, right? Or you got the outside sales guys. You can contact, Or if you don't go inside and do that, right, and you're a small company or something, you can call them and say, hey, can you have your outside salesperson actually come out and talk to me? And then you sell yourself to that person and let them know that they need to give you a great rate. What a lot of people don't understand, not everybody gets the same discount. Certain people, based on who you are and how much you buy, you can dictate the price of the material, and the discount actually goes into the back end of the computer, right? So I might buy something, I might buy $1 worth of material that you would buy, but I might get it for 90 cents because I have a deeper discount on the back end because I negotiated that rate. Does that make sense? So vendors are extremely important. You want to take care of them. You want to pay them. You want to make sure that everything's good and stuff. But at the same time, with being a good customer for them, you have to work those deals and make sure and double check. Like if they get their aluminum and they're like, oh, we're at $1.80 or we're $1.90 or whatever they're at, right? $2. Like, oh, now material's going up. So then make sure you check with other people every so often so that you can double check and make sure that they're giving you a great price. Meaning, like, once in a while, quote other people and just make sure that they're giving you a great price. All right. So next one, can you talk about the tariffs? The prices are rising and all that. Oh man, I don't want to get political. This is all I can say. I can say that people have been putting tariffs, other countries have been putting tariffs on us forever, and massive tariffs. And it's a massive amount of money that other companies are making off of these tariffs and stuff. So what I believe is happening is not only are some tariffs being put out there to actually kind of spank the hand of other people, but it's being done in a way too to actually be strategic in negotiations so that at the end of the day, you can come away with both countries dropping tariffs and just having free trade. Right? So a lot of people are going to talk a lot about this and that, but usually that's how it goes. You go hard, it's strategic, and it ends up coming down, right? But I truly believe if somebody's putting a 20% tariff on you, then you should put a 20% tariff on them just to keep it even. And it sucks that people pay more, but at the same time, when the prices go up, it allows companies in your own country to actually start producing parts because they become more competitive, right? And not to be like that, but back in the day, we needed one type of soap to actually clean everything, right? And now you need 20 different types of soap. People just want a lot of different things for everything. We just overspend and overspend. I'd rather not spend as much and buy as much, but have quality stuff, right? So, when it comes to the tariffs, everybody knows that the prices went up. Everybody knows that it's across the board. Companies understand. So just quote the material and try to do domestic material. You know what I mean? Wherever you are, you're here, you're in the UK, you're in Australia, try to do domestic material to your country and actually just put that in and try to get those jobs. And the customer knows whether it's you or somebody down the street, they're gonna have to pay for it. All right, so just have confidence, work through it. Hopefully we get all the tariffs around just dropped and we can just have free trade, right? All right, so last question, all right? I'm already talking way too long, okay? So last question is, what is the best way to get your hands on a decent machine for your garage? Not a $100,000 machine, but a good start, all right? And this is from Teshimo, okay? And this is what I have to say, I got a big shop, right? We got probably 19 CNCs in here. And I mean, it's not big, it's not huge, but it's good. I got 20,000 square feet. It's good for me, right? And we worked into it, and your customers kind of demand what you get, right? And it just kind of takes on a life of its own, right? But the truth is that back in the day, my dream as a CNC machinist for other companies, my dream for being a GM of other companies was, I couldn't even conceive that I could have a big company or do anything. I couldn't even conceive of it, man. I was borrowing $5. You guys seen my story, right, in the last vlogs. I was borrowing $5 just to put gas in my tank to get to work, right? So, you know, my dream was like to have like one of the Haas mini mills or a couple mini mills, like a little mini mill and then a little lathe, right? Like a little SL10 or something in my, back in the day it was the SLs, right? So in my garage where I could just actually partner with a couple companies and make some parts. That was my vision, right? And then you guys know the story in vlog number 19. I tell you exactly how I built my whole company. But that was never the vision, right? I just wanted to get a small machine. And you know what, back then, right? So I started my company in 2005. We were building it in 2004. So, you know, back then, the cheap machines were like, you know, 40,000 bucks, 50,000 bucks, right? So now it's changed, right? Because, you know, Haas has a really easy control, right? To learn and stuff. It's easy. There's a lot of stuff out there online and stuff. And they have machines down at like $30,000, right? But then you give up horsepower, you give up spindle speed, you give up different things. For education, they actually have a machine for $18,000, right? But, you know, it's kind of hard because once you go to 30,000, then you're like, oh, a little bit of more horsepower. Now I'm at 38,000, then I'm at 48,000, then I'm at 58,000. And whatever you're going to get, you got to make sure that you have the right customers and that you can actually compete and actually make parts, right? So then but now there's different companies. The game has changed. So you have a company called Tormac, and they make these little machines, right? It's actually not that small, but they make a machine, and they start at like the 5,000 to 10,000 range, and they go up to like the 20,000, 25,000 range. So it's a smaller machine that you can actually put in your garage. And a lot of people that go to college now, they actually just buy one of those machines, put it in the garage, buy it for like 12,000, 14,000 bucks. And that's cheaper than they were going to pay at college. And then they actually go to the academy.titansofcnc.com. They follow my curriculum, they follow the videos, and they teach themselves the trade on their machine in their garage. And it's free curriculum. We teach everybody how to CNC machine. How good is that? So a Tormac in the garage is great. And guess what? There's a huge amount of little like makers, right? Garage makers, people making it happen. And all I'm seeing is these little homemade machines like springing up. There's videos out there how to make your own CNC machine where people are like spending 2,000 bucks making their own CNC machine, hundreds of bucks. You know what I mean? Like they're actually doing some incredible things and making the academy building blocks on those machines. So you can do it, you know. I had a guy named Matt Wilkinson, and he's on our Facebook group, and he basically was a welder, and he actually went in and actually contacted me, and he's like, dude, like I weld and I do this and that. I'm gonna sell my sand rail and get a CNC machine, and what do you think? And I said, oh, you have a company already, like maybe you want to like get this or that. Well, he found a DMG in Canada, like a good mill, and he sold his sand rail for $20,000, took $20,000, bought the DMG, had it delivered at his facility where he welds, and basically went on the academy, taught himself how to use the machine by building all the building block parts, and now he has paying customers. He bought the machine a year ago, just a year ago, and he's been making parts for paying customers for like 8-9 months because the academy taught him how to use that mill. Never before. So that was 20 grand, and it's a big mill, but it was used. All right. So it depends on what material you're using, who's your customer, where you're at, what you can afford. Don't overextend yourself. Just put the work in, speak it, do what you need to do, and basically it'll happen for you. All right, so there's a lot more questions. We'll answer questions more, but I've already talked for way too long, so I'm going to go now. You guys have a great rest of your Veterans Day. This is an amazing day. Thank you again to everybody who served our country, and God bless you all, man. You guys take care. I'm out. Boom.